Hey guys, today we're cracking open a breakfast mystery quite literally. There's a plate on your table. It's warm, familiar. Maybe you've had it every morning for the last decade without giving it a second thought. Scrambled eggs, a pinch of pepper, maybe some toast on the side. But what if I told you this seemingly ordinary egg is hiding a superpower, one that's quietly been upgrading your brain like a hidden software update? Yep, you're about to find out something oddly thrilling. The link between that humble egg yolk and the way your brain processes information like lightning. It's not some magical health claim or a trendy superfood gimmick. It's biology practical, tasty biology. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, let me know in the comments where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. I'm always curious who's tuned in with a coffee in hand or curled up in bed. Now, let's start looking for things you don't know. You're sitting at your desk, and somehow today, you're remembering every to-do list item without glancing at your phone once. It's like your brain's running on clean energy. You may chalk it up to good sleep, or that 5-minute meditation you tried. But maybe, just maybe, it was breakfast. Turns out, eggs have been quietly supporting your brain for a long time, not with loud, flashy power like caffeine. Eggs are more like the quiet assistant who arranges every file just where it needs to be, so your mental focus doesn't skip a beat. Let's zoom in on that. You see, your brain is one of the hungriest organs in your body. It burns through more energy than anything else, even when you're just sitting still, zoning out on a bus. And to function at high speed, it needs certain nutrients constantly available, not just calories, real biochemical building blocks. And eggs? They just happen to be packed with exactly those. Let's start with protein. Each egg contains about 6 grams of it. You probably already knew that. But what you may not know is how crucial those amino acids are not just for muscle but for making neurotransmitters. That's your brain's internal texting system. Dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, all the little messengers that help you think, feel, decide, and remember. One particular amino acid called tyrosine, found in egg whites, is even directly linked to boosting alertness and memory under stress. So next time you're in a crunch meeting or exam, eggs might just help you not panic. But we're not stopping there. Now imagine your brain as a city. Neurons are skyscrapers. Between them are roads, your neural pathways. Information zips around like tiny Teslas. But these roads aren't built of concrete. They're built of fat specifically. Omega-3 second and phospholipids. That's where egg yolks come in. Yolks contain healthy fats, vitamin D, vitamin E, and small but powerful amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, all of which help build those roads and keep traffic flowing smoothly. Without them, things get jammed. Ever had one of those days where you keep walking into a room and forgetting why? That's a traffic jam right there, possibly due to low-fat intake or unstable neurotransmitter production. Oh, and let's not forget vitamin B12. This guy's a brain superhero. Without B12, your brain starts slowing down. You might feel foggy, moody, or forgetful. Guess what's one of the most available sources of 12-inch the average diet? You got it, eggs. And yet, despite all that, eggs rarely get the praise they deserve. They're just so normal. You rarely see anyone on Instagram hashtagging number eggbrain or number scrambled focus. But maybe they should. You know what's even better? Your brain doesn't need 6 eggs a day. In fact, we'll get to why that would be a bad idea later. What matters is consistency. Think of it like watering a plant. Small, regular care keeps things blooming. You don't dump a whole jug of water once a week, unless you're me, and you forget plants exist. Now, I know what you're wondering. Okay, sure, sounds great, but is there something specific in eggs that actually makes my brain perform better? Yes, there is. But for that, you'll have to keep watching because in the next section, we're diving into one nutrient that no one talks about at parties but every neurologist loves: choline. Hint: it's probably the reason you felt so on point this morning, even if you just thought it was the coffee. So now, you're walking through your kitchen. The fridge hums. You open it. There it is, a carton of eggs. But today, you're looking at it differently. Not as a default breakfast item, not as that thing that goes in omelets, but as a brain-enhancing capsule. Why? Because you're about to meet one of the most underappreciated nutrients in your entire diet: choline. Choline is like the backstage crew of a theater production. If they disappeared, the entire show would fall apart. And your brain? It's the Broadway of your body. You probably didn't hear about choline growing up. Nobody told you it mattered. You heard about calcium for bones, vitamin C for colds, iron for energy, but choline? Not a word. Meanwhile, your brain has been begging for it every single day. Here's the deal. Choline is the raw material your body uses to make acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that handles memory, mood regulation, and muscle control. Basically, it's the substance that lets your brain send signals clearly and quickly. And without enough choline, things get fuzzy, forgetful, slow. Think of acetylcholine as your brain's Wi-Fi signal. Choline is the modem. No modem, no signal. So here's the kicker. One egg yolk contains about 125 milligrams of choline. That's nearly 25% of your daily needs right there, in a single egg. You could get choline from other sources like beef liver, but let's be honest. When was the last time you casually cooked up beef liver on a Tuesday morning? Exactly. Now imagine this. You're sitting in a meeting, and your boss throws a surprise question your way. You don't just answer, you nail it, effortlessly. The words come out smooth, the logic crisp. That's acetylcholine doing its job. That's choline's behind-the-scenes magic at play. And this isn't some superhero fantasy. There are actual studies showing that people with higher choline intake tend to perform better on memory and cognitive tasks. It's not instant like caffeine. It's quieter, deeper, the kind of clarity that sneaks up on you over time. Oh, and if you're someone who's prone to mood swings, mild anxiety, or brain fog after lunch, well, choline might be your new best friend. Why? Because it doesn't just fuel your thinking. It helps regulate your mood. Stable neurotransmitters mean fewer crashes, fewer emotional roller coasters. Now picture this. Your brain is like a massive orchestra. Every section strings, brass, percussion needs to come in at the right time, at the right intensity. Choline? It's the conductor. And if the conductor's not on stage, the whole thing goes off key. But hey, here comes the curveball. Your body does produce some choline on its own, but nowhere near enough. That means you have to get it from food. And surprise, surprise, most people don't. In fact, up to 90% of Americans don't hit their daily choline targets. That's like 9 out of 10 brains running slightly under capacity, all the time. You don't need to be one of them, and you won't be because now you know. And knowing, well, that's half the omelet. But here's where it gets fun. Because choline isn't just helping you in the moment, it's also helping your future self, specifically, your older brain. Studies show that adequate choline intake is associated with lower risk of cognitive decline as you age. We're talking memory preservation, sharper thinking, better recall in your 60-second, 70-second, even 80-second. In short, eat your eggs today so you can remember your grandkids' names tomorrow. Let's not forget another cool fact. Choline is absolutely essential during pregnancy. If you're a parent or planning to be one, choline helps the baby's brain develop correctly, reducing the risk of neural tube defects. It's like giving your future child a head start before they're even born. And yet, no one talks about this stuff. Eggs are still stuck in the cholesterol controversy from the 92nd. Meanwhile, their brain-boosting abilities are quietly transforming lives. Like yours. You're probably starting to think, all right, this is sounding too good. What's the catch? And you're right to ask. Because just like every superpower, there's always a limit. In the next section, we'll talk about that. Because while eggs are amazing, more isn't always better. In fact, eating too many can mess with other parts of your health, like your heart. And we don't want to trade mental clarity for cholesterol buildup. But don't worry, you're going to learn exactly how to balance it. No fear, no guilt, just smart eating. For now, go ahead and look at that egg carton again. It's not just breakfast, it's brain food. One yolk at a time. You're at the grocery store now, staring at the refrigerated wall of egg cartons. Free range, omega-3 enriched, brown, white, organic, jumbo. There's an entire shelf that looks like a farm decided to move in. Your fingers hover over one carton, and for a second you wonder, should I just eat more? Like, way more? You've seen the benefits. Mental sharpness, focus, mood stability. The idea of turning your brain into a finely tuned supercomputer with just a few more eggs a day? Tempting. But then your inner voice chimes in, the reasonable one that sounds like your mom or maybe that overly enthusiastic doctor on morning television. More isn't always better. And for once, that voice is absolutely right. Let's get real. Eggs are powerful, but they're not magical. And like all powerful things, they come with a balance warning label. You've got to listen to your body, and also, maybe, to a bit of biochemistry. Let's start with cholesterol, because that's usually the first thing people panic about when they hear egg yolk. Yes, eggs contain cholesterol, about 186 milligrams per yolk to be exact. For years, this fact alone turned eggs into villains. Nutrition headlines were dramatic. Eggs raise your cholesterol. Eat eggs, ruin your heart. But science, as it tends to do, eventually caught up with nuance. Turns out, for most people, the cholesterol in eggs doesn't significantly impact blood cholesterol levels. Why? Because your liver already produces cholesterol, and when you eat more from food, your liver simply makes less. It balances itself out. But, and this is important, not everyone's body reads the memo the same way. There's a group of people called hyper-responders. If you're one of them, your body reacts more noticeably to dietary cholesterol. You might see a rise in LDL, aka bad cholesterol, if you're eating, say, 4 or 5 eggs a day every day. So if your family has a history of heart disease, or your doctor's already raising an eyebrow at your lipid profile, it's smart to monitor how your body reacts to eggs. Because again, the goal here is brain gain without cardiovascular pain. Here's the sweet spot. About 1 egg per day, or no more than 30 eggs a month. That gives your brain all the choline and essential fats it craves without overloading the rest of your system. You're feeding your neurons, not drowning them in yellow. And hey, if you're someone who eats a very nutrient-rich diet already, with other sources of choline like salmon, broccoli, or lean meats, then maybe you don't even need an egg every day. Think of it like topping up your brain's fuel tank, not filling it until it overflows onto the driveway. There's also the issue of variety. Your brain doesn't just thrive on eggs alone. It needs a symphony of nutrients: magnesium, omega, 3-second, iron, antioxidants, flavonoids. Think blueberries, spinach, walnuts, olive oil. If you only eat eggs and ignore the rest, your mental orchestra's still missing a few key players. Let's paint a picture. Imagine your brain is hosting a high-stakes meeting, project deadlines, family logistics, emotional regulation, remembering where you put your keys. You want every department firing on all cylinders. Now picture that meeting fueled only by eggs. Sure, the memory team is doing great, but the stress regulation team? Underfed. The focus crew? Slightly dehydrated. The creativity department? Begging for a square of dark chocolate and a walk in the park. You see the point? Eggs are one piece of the brain-boosting puzzle. An important one, yes, but not the only one. And here's something else. How you prepare your eggs matters too. You can't just throw 6 yolks into a frying pan with butter, bacon grease, and a side of sourdough drowning in cheese. then expect your brain to do backflips in gratitude. That's a recipe for mental sluggishness disguised as comfort food. So instead, try soft-boiled eggs on avocado toast, poached eggs with sautéed spinach, or scrambled eggs with turmeric and a pinch of sea salt. You'll keep the nutrients intact, the inflammation down, and the brain humming. Also, don't forget hydration. A well-fed brain still needs water. No one ever got smarter by being dehydrated, no matter how many omelets they ate. Let's address one more thing: egg boredom. You might be thinking, how do I eat 30 eggs a month without losing my will to live? Easy. Mix it up. Use eggs in different ways. One morning, it's a veggie-packed omelet. The next, it's egg muffins with quinoa and kale. A few days later, a bowl of ramen with a soft-boiled egg sliced on top. Keep it interesting, just like your brain likes it. Bottom line, you've got the knowledge now. You know what's in eggs. You know what your brain loves. And you know that eating 6 eggs a day in the name of genius is not the move. You're smarter than that. Ironically, because of the eggs you already ate. So now you're ready to find that balance. That zone where the eggs nourish your mind without nudging your arteries into rebellion. And once you hit that sweet spot, well, you'll feel it. But there's one last part of the story. Because now that you know the power of eggs and how to use them wisely, it's time to make them part of something bigger, a rhythm, a lifestyle. A small ritual with big results. There's a certain peace in routine. You feel it in the quiet moments when your morning unfolds the same way it did yesterday and the day before that. The kettle hums, the pan warms, and you crack one familiar egg into the sizzle. It's nothing flashy, but in that moment, you're doing something powerful. You're building a brain-friendly habit. Because now, you're no longer just eating eggs. You're taking care of your cognition, you're feeding focus, you're showing up for your future self. Let's talk rhythm. Science says your brain thrives when it doesn't have to guess what's coming next. Predictable patterns like sleep, hydration, meals help regulate neurotransmitter cycles, and food rituals, they're part of that. So when you start your day with 1 egg, just one, you're creating a micro-routine that pays cognitive dividends. But why 30 eggs a month? Why not 50 or 10? Because 30 is the sweet spot where consistency meets moderation. It's just enough to maintain a healthy supply of choline and brain-loving fats without tipping into cholesterol overload or taste fatigue. You're nourishing yourself, not overloading. And what's more, this limit gives the egg meaning. When you only eat 1 a day, you're more likely to notice it, to savor it, to prepare it in a way that feels deliberate. In a world full of more, faster, again, that kind of slowness, that kind of presence, that's medicine. Let's zoom out a bit. Picture yourself not as someone trying to be smarter or healthier, but as someone who's just trying to feel clearer, to walk into a room and remember why, to read a page and not drift off halfway, to respond in conversation without the lag of foggy thoughts. That's what a nourished brain feels like. It's not fireworks, it's focus. Calm, crisp, clean focus. Eggs, in this ritual, become something gentle. Not a fix, not a hack, just a whisper from your body that says, "Hey, I've got what I need." It also gives you a break from overthinking nutrition. Because let's be honest, food gets noisy. Eat this, don't eat that. Keto, vegan, paleo, intermittent fasting, while juicing on Tuesdays. But here you are, grounding yourself in one simple truth. 1 egg a day can make a difference. And not in some dramatic, overnight miracle kind of way. It's subtler than that. It's realizing that your mood is more stable, that your attention span isn't cracking in half by 11 a.m., that your memory isn't playing hide and seek with your to-do list. It's being able to handle a stressful afternoon without needing 3 coffees and a panic spiral. Now, of course, 30 eggs a month isn't a miracle cure. It's not a replacement for sleep, for movement, for real connection, but it is a tool, a small lever with a gentle but steady pull. And when you stack it with other small levers, stretching, water, daylight, green things, you start to notice something. You start feeling like yourself, again, but clearer. And that's the goal, isn't it? Let's close with this. There are hundreds of fancy brain supplements out there, flashy labels, promises of limitless energy. But sometimes the best solution isn't in a bottle, it's in a shell. Brown or white, sitting in your fridge, waiting for you to remember how powerful simple can be. So tomorrow morning, when the pan sizzles and the yolk lands just right, smile to yourself. You're not just making breakfast. You're building clarity, one golden center at a time.